Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be playing with a whole bunch of new makeup. Now, not everything that I use today is going to be new. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten enough stuff to do a full face of new makeup, but I'll be honest with you guys, I was finally able to go and get my hair done. I don't have 5-inch roots anymore, and my stylist is the only person that I have ever known that has gotten my hair to curl and hold its curl. So I wanted to take advantage of this day because my hair isn't curled often, so here we are. I knew I needed to film something, so today was the day to try all of these new products. So if you guys are interested in that, then keep on watching. Okay, so first things first, I do kind of want to apologize for how exhausted I look. It's so funny because right before I started filming this, Tom kind of popped in here and was like, you know what, it's weird because when your hair is all done and curled, and you have no makeup on, it doesn't sit right. But if I look really tired, it's because I worked the night shift last night, and then in order to make my hair appointment, I haven't slept yet today, so I'm a little bit sleepy. But I'm really excited to try out a bunch of these products. Like I said before, most of them are new. Obviously, I don't have new everything, but I thought it would be fun to come on here and do this with you. So let's get started right away. The first thing I'm going to start off with is a new moisturizer that I picked up. So I ended up getting the Peter Thomas Roth. This is the Water Drench Broad Spectrum SPF 45 Hyaluronic Cloud Moisturizer. I'm really excited about this, particularly because it is the summer months, and while I want to go out and be able to wear my makeup out and about, I want something on underneath, just to keep my face from really burning too bad. So this doesn't have any sort of a sunscreen kind of smell, which is nice. It does feel super moisturizing, super hydrating, which is fantastic. That is excellent. I'm really hoping that this ends up being really good because I only have, I think, one foundation that actually has SPF in it, so this would be really good if it sits well under the rest of my makeup. In terms of foundation today, I am going to kind of start off one way and see how it goes. I picked up this Iconic London Radiance Booster. This particular one is in the shade Honey Glow. I'm hoping this is going to be kind of close to my shade. Now, there are two ways you can wear this. You can either wear it as a standalone, kind of just to boost your natural radiance, or under foundation. So we're going to put it on, see what kind of coverage we get just based off of this. And if I don't feel like it's enough coverage, then I will add a foundation on top. I am just going to pump it into my hands and kind of try and smooth it on my face and just sort of see. It's really dark, really dark, but it does kind of smooth out fairly nicely. Definitely has some glow to it. This, yeah, it's way too dark for my skin tone right now. And it's kind of making me go really orange. I don't like this at all. That's unfortunate. I thought that this would be really good for me. So I am just going to use a beauty blender and kind of smooth it out because I think some of the reason it looks so dark and so patchy is because of the way that I tried to smooth it on my face. So it's looking a little bit better now, a little bit more even, I suppose is the word. And now that it is smoothed out a bit, it doesn't look too dark. It does give the skin a, kind of a nice glow to it, but I don't think that this is going to be enough for me today. So I do have another foundation, but really quickly, because I kind of forgot and I probably should have put this on first, I am just putting on a bit of my Tatcha, this Silk Canvas. I just like to put this on in the places that my pores are a little bit enlarged. Just kind of fill them in and let the foundation just sit a little nicer on top. Now, the nice thing is thus far that Radiance Booster and, this primer are sitting really nicely on top of that moisturizer. So that is a good sign. So the foundation we're going to be using today is another new one. Now I have actually used this one once prior and I really, really liked it. That is the Huda Beauty GloWish Multi-Dew Skin Tint. I have the shade 03 Light. I think it's still like a teensy little bit dark for me. If I'm completely honest, it's just a tiny, tiny bit dark. So what I also like to do is actually mix in a little bit of like a NARS Radiance Booster. So it's a similar thing to the iconic London one. This is a tinted glow booster. This is in the shade Light Kalvoya. It just kind of adds enough of a contrast of color that when I mix it together, it gives me the right tone for my complexion as of right now. Again, as I tan throughout the summer, I think that I'm gonna not have to mix it. The other reason that I actually realized I don't mind mixing these together is because they're a similar consistency and they have a similar finish, which is dewy. So you guys can see even with mixing it in, it is still quite dark for me, quite deep, but I don't know, I'm okay with that. This is, I believe, supposed to be a natural finish foundation. I do find that it gives pretty good coverage, if I say so myself. Like, it's done a lot already covering some of the redness I have on my chin, definitely the redness on my nose. I've got a few little pimples and zits and breakouts in a few places. You know what, I just need a clip to clip these back because I don't want to get stuff in my bangs. Give me 2 seconds. So I've just used a few of these clips that are supposed to not leave like indentations in your hair, so hopefully that's the case. It'll just kind of keep that off my forehead to make sure I can get pretty high up into my hairline. Now, something I will say about this foundation in particular is it's good on a brush. It doesn't leave a ton of streak marks, but I still do like to go back in with a damp beauty blender and kind of in a almost rolling motion and a dabbing motion, just kind of go all over a little bit because I just find that it gives it a bit more of a natural looking texture. You lose all of the like sort of streak marks that you may have got. And a little bit of this foundation goes quite a long way. I only did one pump into my little pan here, and it was enough to cover my whole face. Now, because this is obviously not the same color as the rest of my body, I am just going to carry it down just to make sure that, you know, it at least kind of like blends into my neck a little bit. It's pulling slightly oranger than I recall, but that could also be a combination of that glowing iconic London boost, whatever, underneath, which is my inkling. In terms of concealer, so obviously I'm going to go in with my favorite concealer. This is my NARS. What is this one called? The Soft Matte Complete Concealer. Mine is in the shade Light Vanilla. I like to particularly use this underneath my eyes as a brightener. I will also kind of dot this in a few problem areas. I just find that it evens out any redness, any, you know, zits, anything like that. But I do like to go in with a bit heavier of a concealer as well, particularly on a day like today where I am so tired and I feel like I do look so tired. So I'm super excited. I've been talking about getting this for a long time. It's not a new concealer, but it is a new shade. I finally picked up the MAC Pro Longwear concealer in the shade NW15. I have always had NW20, and you know, as the years have gone on and as I've gotten better with makeup, I've realized that like lighter colors are better, obviously, for under your eyes. So I just took as little of a pump as I can because honestly, one pump of this stuff is too much. And I'm just going to sort of dot that anywhere that I want there to be some brightening effect. So I don't mind a little bit on my nose. Now, honestly, normally in the rest of these places, I would probably just use the other color, which is the NW20, which would match the rest of my face. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color. That's kind of gross. Hold on. Okay. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that and kind of use that more as a spot concealer in some of the areas where I carry, you know, just a little bit more redness, particularly where I'm having some breakouts. Now, another thing that I like to do, particularly with concealers that are like this, that are a little bit more fluid, is I like to give them a second to get a bit tacky. I find that they just stick down better. So while that's happening, if I could find it, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. So for that, I'm just going to be using my MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint. I haven't used this in quite some time. Mine is in the shade Fling, and I'm just trying to renew a love for this, if I'm completely honest, and also use up the product. So this has a felt tip on one end, and on the other end is like a powder to fill in your brows. So I like to use the one side kind of just to do little hair-like strokes and really give my brows the shape that I'm looking for. And then if I do find that I have any gaps in my brows, anything that really, really needs to get filled in, that's when we like to go in with the powder side. Just looks a little bit better. I really need to tack down this concealer because it's looking a little messed up right now. So I'm just gonna give that 2 seconds and blend the concealer in. So as I said, this is the new shade, and it is definitely doing a ton to brighten up my under eyes. I think that that area looks really, really fantastic. Now, Prolongwear concealer is a super duper full coverage concealer. It is not what I would really use for an everyday concealer if I didn't really need it. Because it's probably the most full coverage concealer that I have. Yeah, it's just not my, like, it used to be my favorite concealer, and slowly but surely, like, it's kind of lost that spot, particularly to the NARS one. But on days like this where I need some extra coverage, a little bit of extra boost, shall we say, to make myself look more awake, those are the days that I'm going to find myself reaching for this. It tends not to crease too badly, but obviously we are going to set it in a minute. I'm just going to finish up my eyebrows now that I have finished that up. I can actually see that this foundation is starting to settle kind of weird in this area here. Again, I don't know if it's a combination of the Glow Booster and the Tatcha or what it is. It looks okay from a distance. It's something that only I would really see. And I'm also just taking a bit of this like brow powder, and I'm just putting it like right sort of at the thickest part of my brow. And then what I'm gonna do, if I can find it, is take a spoolie and use that to kind of spread it out and brush it through the rest of my brows. Because I used to kind of use it more to draw in the full thing, and I found that my eyebrows just ended up too dark. I ended up with too much of it. So this is the best way for me personally to do it. Now, everybody likes to do their brows a different way. I like a more like fluffy natural brow without being too dramatic. In terms of setting powder, I'm just going to use some of my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder because this is my favorite one. It's my go-to one. It seems to be the one that works the best for me. And so especially on a day when we are kind of trying a new concealer mix with a foundation, like a new combination, I want to make sure that the powder is not going to be what causes any cakiness, any strange texture. So I'm just putting that more or less just where I put the concealer. I don't necessarily want it all over my face because it's going to take some of that radiance away, some of that glow. So just sort of in the main places where we added concealer as well as foundation are the places that I like to put powder, but again, that's to each their own. For a bronzer today, I have got a brand new one, and I'm a little hesitant because I didn't realize it had glitter. So I finally picked up one of the Becca bronzers. I've been looking at this for years, and just with Becca kind of going out of business, well, not kind of, but definitely going out of business, I thought it's probably time to finally get one. So this is the Sunlit bronzer in the shade Bali Sands. So it's just a really, really light kind of warm bronzer. It doesn't look like it's gonna pull too much orange. Unfortunately, what I didn't realize is there is, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but quite a bit of like a gold glitter in it, which I hadn't anticipated, but that's okay. So I'm just using my favorite Mr. Right brush, and I'm going to kind of put that in all of the normal places that I put it. So I always like to kind of do the border of my face, starting up in my hairline and down. I'm not a big contour person, but I just like to kind of bronze my face all over, just to kind of get like a really, really natural sun-kissed kind of a glow. So far I'm really liking the way that this is applying. It's a very, very light bronzer, which is nice, as in terms of the shade. It's not pulling orange, it's just warming up the face, which is really, really nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that that looks nice, and now that it's on my skin, I don't find that it's too reflective, so that's really good as well. What is this from? Foundation. I'm all over the place right now. Next up, we're going to be trying a new blush. So this is one of the Hourglass Vanish blushes in the shade Loyal. I love Hourglass. Now they are very, very expensive, super, super pricey, so I could understand if this isn't for everybody. It is in one of their stick forms, and it's in that triangle shape that they make a lot of their blushes for. I have used this once before. It is super pigmented, so I'm just going to add a couple dots, and then with my finger, I'm kind of just going to blend it in and upwards just to give me a really nice flush. And same on the other side. And as with all like cream and liquid, and really I guess all blushes, a little goes a long way. Add a tiny bit and then add some more. And I have taken recently just to also putting a bit of blush on my nose, particularly because naturally I do have a bit of redness in my nose, so I just kind of like the way that it carries through my face. I think it gives me a really, really nice natural flush. This would also go on really, really well with a beauty sponge or a kind of flatter face brush that has some more dense bristles to it. I feel like I haven't done a video where I've done my makeup in so long, so I'm kind of like stumbling to find words. The next thing that we're going to use is actually something I recently got in a BoxyCharm. It is the Touch in Sol Glowdient makeup palette. Yep. Now, I kind of tried to look up how to use this, and as far as I can tell, it's like a highlighter slash blush palette. So it kind of just has the 5 shades in it. So I'm going to just pick up sort of this second shade, I guess. It's kind of like a champagne. And if I pick up a little bit of the other two, it's not a big deal. And I'm going to, wow, that is glowy. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't even need to turn. I'm sure you guys could see that immediately when I put that on. That is beautiful. It's a super glowy highlighter. I'm impressed by that. That's, wow. Like really pretty, but there's not a lot of glitter in it, which is really nice. Those are my favorite kind of highlighters, the ones that give you just that gorgeous, gorgeous, like beautiful, like out in the sun glow without a ton of glitter added in. Those are my favorite kind of highlighters. So really, really like that. I'm impressed. That's pretty good. So we're about to get into eyes. So of course I'm going to be using some of my MAC Painterly Paint Pot just to prime our eyelids. Now, I'm not 1000% sure where I want to go with this. I don't want to get too heavy into a look, so I'm going to use a combination of a few things that I recently got in a BoxyCharm. So I got a KVD shadow stick that I'm really intrigued to try out, but I also got a palette from a brand that I've never tried before, and that is the Spotlight palette from OPV Beauty London. So I thought it'd be fun just to play a little bit in this, in some of the more natural, neutral colors, see how we like the formula. I never play with these kind of palettes on camera, so I figured why not. So I'm going to first go into, I've got an itch. This is like my least favorite part about having makeup, is when you get itches and I don't want to scrape it away. So I'm going to use the Beauty Blender to scratch my nose. So with a fluffy tapered brush, which has stuff on it already, I'm going to go into, I think, Public Eye. It's kind of like a reddish brown, and I'm going to use that just to add some color to the crease. So it looks like it's pretty pigmented. I don't know. Well, maybe not. Let's see here. There's definitely some pigmentation. I'm actually not mad about how light it is. It looks like these are more buildable shadows, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but again, I'm only into the first shadow. I am just going to take a clean brush and kind of use that to buff out a bit, because I don't want this to be a super overpowering look today. I just want something nice and light on the eyes. Let's go into, there's not a lot here in terms of neutral shadows. Like, I'm just going to kind of show you guys again. I think this palette is more fun with the like bright shimmers, but I don't necessarily know that I'm even going to use a shimmer from this palette because we're going to use the shimmer stick. So let's get into the color Dazzle Night. It's kind of like a reddish brown, and I'm just going to kind of pop that in here. Just deepen up that crease a little bit. Again, it's got some pigment to it. It's not super pigmented, like so pigmented that I think you need to be careful, which is kind of nice. Last color I'm going to go into out of this palette, I think, is just going to be the All Dat Sparkle. It's kind of like a purplish brown, and I'm just using that in the outer corner, just tapping it a little bit along the lash line. And a little bit up into the crease. Not a ton, just a little bit, just to give me that final little bit of depth there. Maybe what I'll do is I'll use one of the shimmery colors to kind of line underneath my eye after we try that Dazzle shadow stick. So that's going to be it for the matte shadows from this palette. I don't know why my nose is so itchy, but it's driving me nuts. And I'm going to use the KVD Dazzle stick. Mine's in the shade Hail Surge. So this looks super, super pretty. I don't know if the best way is just to apply it straight to the eye or kind of use your finger to it. So I'm going to use my finger just because I feel like there's a little bit more room. How pretty is that? I hope you guys can see this. Super pretty. I just think that there's, oh yeah, this feels like wet, but it's really pretty. Like, can you guys see that? It's a really soft formula, so I would almost actually recommend you like leave it as low down in the tube as is humanly possible. And then definitely use your finger just to apply it. It applies beautifully. And it just feels wet. But the nice thing is that there's no fallout. Like, it's a ton of glitter. And, oh, maybe a little bit, but I don't have like a ton of fallout all over my face, which is one of the reasons that I actually don't like using glitter shadows. So I really like this. I would definitely pick up more of these. I think it's a really fun product. So I think what I'm going to do is take the color Limelight. It's like a super like icy, oh, I'm not even in frame. I apologize. Icy light kind of blue. I'm going to take that color and use that for right in my inner corner, just to add a little pop, a little brightness. I'm not super close to the camera, but I think you guys can kind of see that anyways. And I'm gonna take a pencil brush and let's do the color Hype. I was thinking about Dream, which is a bit brighter, but let's do the color Hype and just see how this applies kind of underneath the lash line. Okay, so not bad. Oh, I guess you guys are as close as you're gonna get. I'm gonna have to get closer to you. So it's not bad, but honestly, it's not great. There is not a ton of fallout from this palette, which is kind of impressive. I can see a little bit of the color and a little bit of the shimmer. It just sort of leads me to believe that these are the kind of shimmers that need to be put on with your finger or with like a setting spray or a glue perhaps, but I'm actually not mad about how it looks, so I'm gonna leave it. This palette's gonna take a little bit more experimenting, I guess is the word for it, a little bit more testing, just to see, you know, what kind of looks I can get out of it, how those shimmers really perform. I think that the main goal for this look was to test that KVD shadow stick, and I really liked it. I'm just going to put on some eyeliner. Do I want black eyeliner? Yeah, okay, we'll use black. So I've got my Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner, so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera because every time I try and do it on camera, I screw it up. And I'm also going to put some mascara on, and then we will come back, finish up this look, and kind of wrap up the video. Okay, so two things I kind of lied about. I did put on a mascara. I ended up using my Urban Decay Lash Freak, but I totally forgot I wanted to try out this, what is this called? Browlights Duo Brow Highlighter. I don't normally highlight my brows, but why not? So I kind of want to use like the cream end, not the shimmer end, and just sort of see kind of what we get. So I just put a little bit there, just a tiny bit, and smudged it in. I don't know that it necessarily made a huge difference, but that's okay. I don't know that I expected it to make a huge, oh, a little bit. There's like a little bit of a highlight there. I actually kind of like that. It's very subtle. I'm sure if I had used the shimmer side, it would show up a lot more. And the other thing I forgot is a lip color. So I think for today, I'm just going to use my iconic London lip plumping gloss. This is in the shade Nearly Nude. I talked about this recently. You know what? I don't know if that's like doing enough for me, to be honest. It is a really nice gloss, but let's kind of top it off with this L'Oreal Infallible Pro Gloss Plump in the shade Sheer Blossom. It's just got a little bit more of a pink tint to it, so I'm hoping it'll just give me slightly more color. Still not a ton, but we're here now and we've doubled up. So I think that that is it for makeup. I'm just going to use my Marc Jacobs, words are hard. My Marc Jacobs Coconut Setting Spray. That's literally not because it's new, but because I'm trying to use it up and I'm so close, so. Now that that's done, can take these little clips out. They don't look like they put much dent in my hair, which is good. And I will call that done, I suppose. So that's really exciting. Now I feel like almost more complete now that I've got my hair done and I have my makeup done. I feel like it just looks a lot more put together. So in terms of all of the products here, I think I liked almost everything I tried. I think I need to experiment a little bit more with that iconic London Radiance booster, and that's just because it is so dark, but I think I can make it work. Obviously, you know, even as is, I don't feel like my face looks particularly darker than the rest of my body. The two things I'm most pleasantly surprised by, well, actually, we'll say the three, I'm pleasantly surprised by a lot. If I try and go into everything, it would take a long time. So that is going to be it. This is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have tried any of the products that I have today, Tell me down below if you know of any products similar that I should be trying. Tell me down below. I love hearing from you guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.